Bella's hands trembled as she gripped the silver champagne tray. The crystal glasses clinked together. She steadied herself and moved through the Millennium Tower ballroom. Marble floors, chandeliers that cost more than she'd earned in 10 years. Women in gowns that could pay her rent for 6 months. Men in custom suits discussing deals she'd never understand. This was Chicago's elite, and Bella was invisible to them. Just another server in a black uniform. Another face they'd never remember. Then she heard it. A child crying. Soft sobs cutting through the orchestra music and polished laughter. Bella stopped, looked around. 300 people in this ballroom. Not one of them turned toward the sound. They kept drinking, kept networking, kept pretending they didn't hear a little girl falling apart 20 feet away. Bella's chest tightened. She saw her then. A child alone at a corner table. Maybe 7 years old. Designer dress in pale blue. Dark hair in perfect curls. Face streaked with tears. Her small shoulders shook with each sob. Bella knew that face from the news. Lily Thornton, daughter of billionaire Marcus Thornton, the girl whose mother died 6 months ago in a plane crash. Bella moved toward her, set the tray down, knelt beside the table. "Hey, sweetheart." Lily looked up, brown eyes swimming with tears. Lost. Alone in a room full of people. Bella didn't plan what happened next. Her mother's voice filled her head. The lullaby Elena used to sing when Bella couldn't sleep, when the world felt too big and scary. Bella started humming, low and soft. Then the words came out. "Starlight, star bright. When the world feels too wide, I'll be right here by your side." Lily's crying stopped. Her eyes went wide. Her mouth opened. Mama used to sing that song. The ballroom went silent. Every conversation died. Every head turned. Bella's blood ran cold. She looked up. Marcus Thornton stood 15 feet away, staring at her. His face had gone white. Around them, guests whispered, pointed. A woman gasped. Bella realized what she'd done. She'd crossed a line. She'd made herself visible. And in a room like this, visibility for someone like her was dangerous. Sandra appeared from nowhere. Bella's supervisor. Her face was tight with fury. She grabbed Bella's arm. "Kitchen. Now." But Lily's small hand shot out, wrapped around Bella's fingers. "Don't go." The little girl's grip was desperate. Bella's heart cracked. She looked at Lily's face, saw herself at that age, after her father left. When her mother worked 3 jobs and Bella cried alone in their tiny apartment. No one had comforted her then. No one had stopped to kneel beside her and sing. "Miss Hartman." The voice was cold, male, commanding. Bella looked up. Marcus Thornton stood over them now. Tall, sharp suit, face carved from stone. Power radiated off him like heat. "You need to let go of my daughter." Bella's mouth went dry. "I'm sorry." She was crying. "I just wanted—" "Where did you learn that song?" The question hit like a slap. Bella blinked. "What?" "That song you were singing." His voice dropped lower. "Dangerous." "Where did you learn it?" Guests crowded closer. Cell phones appeared. Someone was filming. Bella felt trapped, exposed. Her throat closed up. She forced words out. "My mother. She used to sing it to me." Something shifted in Marcus Thornton's eyes. Fear flashed across his face. Just for a second. Then it hardened into something worse. Recognition. "What was your mother's name?" "Elena. Elena Hartman." He went pale, actually stumbled back half a step. Lily still held Bella's hand. The little girl looked between them, confused, scared. Marcus's jaw clenched. When he spoke again, his voice was ice. "Security. Mr. Thornton, I didn't mean—" "My daughter's grieving." He took advantage of that. He reached down, pulled Lily's hand away from Bella's. The little girl whimpered. "You're done here." 2 men in dark suits materialized. One grabbed Bella's arm. Sandra hissed in her ear. "You're fired." Effective immediately. Bella tried to pull away. "Wait, please. I just get her out of my sight." Marcus's voice cut through everything. Final. Absolute. He picked up Lily, turned his back, walked away without looking at Bella again. The little girl's face appeared over his shoulder, tears streaming down her cheeks. Her mouth formed words Bella couldn't hear. "Don't leave me." But Bella was already being dragged backward, through the ballroom, past 300 faces staring at her like she was dirt. Past the orchestra that started playing again. Past the life she'd just destroyed with one song. The security guards didn't speak, didn't look at her, just pulled her through the service entrance, down the industrial hallway, to the elevator that servers used, the one guests never saw. The doors closed. Bella was alone. Her hands shook worse than before. Her heart hammered. What had just happened? Why did Marcus Thornton react to her mother's name like that? What did he know about Elena that Bella didn't? The service elevator smelled like industrial cleaner and old grease. Bella leaned against the metal wall. Her legs barely held her up. Her mind spun. Sandra's voice echoed in her head. You're fired. 3 years with elite events. Gone in 3 minutes. Because she'd comforted a crying child. Because she'd sung a song her dead mother taught her. The elevator reached the ground floor. Opened into the loading dock. Cold Chicago wind hit her face. October night air bit through her thin uniform. Bella stepped out, wrapped her arms around herself. Her car was 6 blocks away in the employee lot. She started walking. Her phone buzzed. Text from Sandra. Don't bother coming back for your last check. You violated client boundaries. We're terminating for cause. Elite Events will inform every catering company in Chicago. You'll never work an event in the city again. Bella stopped walking. Read it again. Her vision blurred. She had $200 in her checking account. Rent was due in 5 days. $1,700. Her mother's medical debt sat at $43,000. She'd been paying $200 a month for 3 years, barely making a dent. Without this job, she had nothing. No backup plan. No family to call. No college degree to fall back on because she dropped out to work when Elena died. She leaned against a brick wall, tried to breathe, failed. Her chest squeezed tight. Panic clawed up her throat. She was going to lose her apartment, going to end up in her car, or worse, all because she tried to help, all because she'd sung to a little girl who needed it. But that wasn't the part that wouldn't let go. Marcus Thornton's face, the way he'd gone white when she said her mother's name, Elena Hartman. He'd recognized it, known it, feared it. Why? Bella pulled out her phone, typed with shaking fingers. Elena Hartman plus Marcus Thornton. Search results loaded. Nothing. No connection. No articles. No mentions. She tried Elena Hartman plus Thornton Pharmaceutical. Still nothing. Just old news about the company. Drug approvals. Stock prices. Marcus's rise to billionaire status. Bella closed her eyes. Tried to remember. Had her mother ever mentioned the Thorntons? Ever talked about working in pharmaceuticals? Elena had been a lab technician, worked at different companies over the years, but she'd never stayed anywhere long, never talked about the work, just came home tired, made dinner, sang Bella to sleep, then got up and did it again. Wait, the box. Elena's old papers. Bella had shoved them in her closet after the funeral. Couldn't look at them, couldn't face sorting through her mother's life. But maybe there was something in there. Something that explained why a billionaire looked at her like she was a ghost. Bella started walking faster, toward the employee lot, toward her car, toward answers she suddenly needed more than her next breath. Bella sat on her apartment floor at 2 in the morning. The cardboard box in front of her was falling apart, water-stained, taped shut with packing tape that had yellowed over 3 years. She'd avoided opening it since the funeral. Too painful, too final. But now her hands tore at the tape, ripped it off, pulled the flaps open. Inside was her mother's life. Pay stubs, tax returns, a couple of worn books, a jewelry box with cheap earrings, photos Bella hadn't seen in years. She dug through everything, looking for something, anything that connected Elena to Marcus Thornton or that song. And then she found it, near the bottom, a stack of papers clipped together, employment records. Bella's hands shook as she read. Thornton Pharmaceutical. Elena had worked there 15 years ago, for 6 months, as a laboratory technician in clinical trials. She'd quit suddenly. No 2-week notice. Just gone. Why had Elena never mentioned it? Bella tried to remember. She would have been 9 years old then, but she didn't recall anything unusual. No conversations about work. No complaints about a boss. Elena had just come home one day and said she had a new job somewhere else. Bella kept digging through the box. Found a photo tucked between two folders. Her breath caught. Elena in the picture, younger, smiling, wearing a white lab coat, standing next to another woman, also in a lab coat, also smiling. The second woman had kind eyes. Dark hair pulled back. She looked tired, but happy. On the back of the photo, Elena's handwriting, faded, but readable. Catherine and me, last day we tried. Catherine. Bella's mind went blank, then exploded. Catherine. Lily's mother was named Catherine. Catherine Thornton. The woman who died in that plane crash 6 months ago. The woman whose daughter Bella had just comforted. The woman who had sung the same lullaby to Lily that Elena had sung to Bella. This wasn't possible. Bella looked at the photo again, studied Catherine's face, tried to match it to news images of Catherine Thornton. The bone structure was right. The eyes. It was her. Had to be. Elena and Catherine Thornton had worked together, had known each other, had been friends, based on that photo. Bella's mind raced. The song. Elena must have taught it to Catherine, or Catherine taught it to Elena. Either way, they'd shared it, passed it between them like a secret. Sometimes songs travel between people who need the most. That's what Elena had said. That's exactly what she'd said when Bella was 6, coming home from school with tears on her face because girls had called her poor. Elena had held her, sung the lullaby, told her it came from a friend who needed it during dark times. Catherine had been that friend. But why dark times? What had happened at Thornton Pharmaceutical 15 years ago? Why had both women quit? And why was one of them dead in a plane crash and the other dead 3 years ago from complications during routine surgery? Bella looked at the photo again. Read the back. We tried. Tried what? Tried to do what? And why did Marcus Thornton look at Bella like she was dangerous when she said her mother's name? What did he know? What was he hiding? Bella grabbed her laptop, started searching. Catherine Thornton obituary, plane crash investigation, cause of death, anything that might connect the dots. Because 2 women who worked together were both dead. Both sang the same song to their daughters. And one of those daughters had just gotten fired for singing it to the other. This wasn't coincidence. This was something else. Something dark. Something worth destroying a server's life to keep buried. If this story matters to you, if you felt Bella's fear and Lily's pain, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And if you want more stories about ordinary people who refuse to stay silent when powerful people want them invisible, hit that subscribe button. Because this is just the beginning. Bella's phone rang at 7 in the morning. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer. Her hand hovered over the screen. Then she pressed accept. Hello, Miss Hartman. My name is James Chin. I'm head of security for Marcus Thornton. Bella's stomach dropped. Her throat went dry. Before you hang up, I'm not calling to threaten you. I'd like to buy you coffee. Just talk. That's all. Bella's mind raced. This was a trap. Had to be. Why would I meet you? Because I was at that gala. I saw what happened. I heard you sing. His voice softened. And I heard that song 1,000 times before. From Catherine Thornton. She sang it to Lily every night. Bella's hand tightened on the phone. I don't understand. Neither do I. That's why I want to talk. Navy Pier. The coffee shop near the entrance. 1 hour. I'll be alone. You can leave any time you want. He hung up. Bella stared at her phone. Every instinct screamed this was dangerous. But he'd known Catherine. He'd heard the song. Maybe he had answers. She met him at Navy Pier. Cold wind whipped off Lake Michigan. The coffee shop was nearly empty. James sat at a corner table. Asian man, maybe 40, wearing a dark jacket. His eyes tracked her as she entered. Not threatening. Sad. Bella sat down across from him. Didn't take off her coat. Ready to run. You have 5 minutes. I worked for Catherine Thornton for 5 years. Personal protection. But it was more than that. She was family to me. His voice cracked. I loved her like a sister. When she died, something broke in that house. In Marcus. In Lily. Nothing's been right since. What does this have to do with me? That song you sang. I heard Catherine sing it every single night. Rocking Lily to sleep. When Lily had nightmares. When Catherine herself couldn't sleep. He leaned forward. Where did your mother learn it? Bella reached into her bag. Pulled out the photo. Slid it across the table. James picked it up. His face went pale. His hands shook. Oh God. They knew each other. 15 years ago, they worked together at Thornton Pharmaceutical. James stared at the photo, his eyes filled with tears. Catherine never told me, never mentioned your mother's name, but she talked about someone, a friend from before, someone she lost, someone who understood. He looked up at Bella. She said that person taught her the song during the worst time of her life. What was the worst time? James was quiet for a long moment. Then he reached into his jacket, pulled out a leather journal, set it on the table between them. After Catherine died, I went to her private office, the one in the house Marcus never entered. I found this, her journal. I kept it. Marcus wouldn't look at anything of hers, couldn't face it, but I thought someday someone should read it. He pushed it toward Bella. Maybe that someone is you. Why are you giving this to me? Because Catherine wrote about your mother in here, about things that happened at that company, things she couldn't tell anyone, things that scared her. James stood up. I don't know what Marcus is hiding, but whatever it has got Catherine killed, and maybe your mother too. He walked toward the door, stopped, looked back, read it, then call me. Because if we're right about what's in there, Lily deserves to know the truth about her mother, and you deserve to know the truth about yours. He left. Bella sat alone with the journal. Her hands trembled as she opened it. Catherine's handwriting filled the first page. Neat, careful. The date was 16 years ago, right before Elena and Catherine worked together, right before everything went wrong. Bella read the journal in her car. Couldn't go home, couldn't stop reading. Catherine's words pulled her in, trapped her. The early entries were normal. Work updates, pregnancy symptoms, excitement about the baby. Then Elena's name appeared. Met the new lab tech today, Elena Hartman. She's brilliant, careful, asks the right questions. We're both working on the Veridex trials. Cardiac surgical drug, supposed to prevent complications during heart procedures. The data looks promising. Elena noticed something in the phase 2 results. Small spike in adverse events. We flagged it. Management said it was within acceptable parameters. Bella's chest tightened. Veridex. She'd never heard of it. She kept reading. 3 months later. Elena and I have been going over the data every night. Something's wrong. The adverse events aren't random. There's a pattern. Cardiac complications post-surgery in patients who received Veridex during the procedure. The rate is 3 times higher than the control group. We documented everything. Brought it to Dr. Reeves. He dismissed it, said we were being paranoid, that our sample size was too small. But Elena found 6 more cases in the phase 3 trials. 6 people who had cardiac events within weeks of surgery. 2 died. Bella's hand shook. She flipped pages faster. Marcus won't listen. I tried to tell him tonight. Showed him our findings. He said I was stressed from the pregnancy, that I should trust the research team. They're the experts. He's so focused on the launch, on what this drug will do for the company, for our future, for the baby. He can't see what's right in front of him. Elena and I signed NDAs yesterday. We had no choice. Legal made it clear. Speak publicly and we'll be sued into oblivion. But we're still documenting, still gathering proof. If this drug launches and people die, someone needs to know we tried to stop it. Bella's vision blurred. Her mother had tried to stop it, had tried to save people. She kept reading. I'm 8 months pregnant now. Elena and I work late most nights. The office is empty. We go over data. We cry together. We're so scared. Not just for us. For everyone who'll take this drug. Elena taught me a song. Something her mother sang to her. She said it helps when the fear gets too loud. Starlight, star bright. When the world feels too wide, I'll be right here by your side. We sing it together sometimes. In the dark lab, just the 2 of us. Trying to breathe. Trying to remember we're not alone. This song keeps me breathing when I want to scream. Bella closed her eyes. Tears ran down her face. Her mother had been terrified, had been silenced, had taught Catherine the song to survive. The final entries were brief. Elena quit today. No notice. Just gone. She said she couldn't keep fighting, that she had a daughter to protect. I understand. God, I understand. But I'm alone now. And then 2 weeks later, I quit today. Marcus is furious, but I can't be part of this. Veridex launches next month. I've done everything I can. Said everything I can say. Now I just pray I'm wrong. But she wasn't wrong. Bella grabbed her laptop, searched Veridex, found the drug information. FDA approved 16 years ago. Used in cardiac surgical procedures. Manufactured by Thornton Pharmaceutical. She searched deeper. Found a class action lawsuit from 8 years ago. Settled quietly. No admission of wrongdoing. Veridex still on the market. Bella's hands moved faster. She pulled up her mother's death certificate. She'd looked at it 100 times. Never really read it. Cause of death. Cardiac complications following routine gallbladder surgery. She scrolled to the medication list. There, Veridex. Administered during the procedure to prevent complications. The drug that was supposed to save her had killed her. Bella couldn't breathe. She searched Catherine Thornton's death. Plane crash. Mechanical failure. Pilot error. But she dug deeper. Found the autopsy report through a news article that quoted it. Cause of death. Blunt force trauma from crash. But there was a note. Pilot had experienced sudden cardiac event mid-flight. Lost control of the plane. Cardiac event. Catherine had been on heart medication for years after Lily's birth. Pregnancy complications. Bella searched the medication name. Veridex. Long-term preventative use. The same drug. The drug Elena and Catherine had tried to stop. The drug that killed them both. 15 years apart. Both women silenced. Both women dead. Both women's daughters left alone. And Marcus Thornton had known. Had to have known. The journal made that clear. Catherine had told him. Had begged him to listen. And he'd chosen profit over truth. Chosen his company over his wife. Over Elena. Over every person who died because Veridex stayed on the market. Bella called James. Her voice shook. We need to talk. Right now. Because I know what happened. I know what killed him. Marcus Thornton stood in his daughter's bedroom. 3 in the morning. Lily asleep in her bed. Peaceful. Innocent. He watched her breathe. Listened to the soft sounds she made. She looked like Catherine. Same dark hair. Same delicate features. Every day, she looked more like the wife he'd killed. He hadn't meant to kill her. That's what he told himself. Every single day, for 6 months. He hadn't known. Hadn't understood. Hadn't listened when Catherine begged him to pull Veridex from trials. He'd been 32 years old. Ambitious. Hungry. Thornton Pharmaceutical was his legacy. His father's company that Marcus had transformed. Veridex was supposed to be the breakthrough. The drug that would save thousands of lives. Make billions of dollars. Secure his family's future forever. Catherine had come to him 7 months pregnant. Showed him data. Charts. Numbers he didn't understand. Something's wrong, Marcus. The cardiac events. The deaths. We need to stop the trials. We need to report this. He'd dismissed her. Told her she was tired. Stressed. That pregnancy was affecting her judgment. The research team knows what they're doing. Dr. Reeves has 40 years of experience. He'd been a lab tech for 3 years. Trust the process. She'd looked at him like he was a stranger. You're not listening to me. I'm listening, but you're wrong. Veridex is safe. The FDA will approve it, and we'll save lives. She'd left his office. He'd gone back to work. Veridex launched 4 months later. Made $2 billion in the first year. Marcus bought this house. Hired staff. Gave Lily everything money could buy. And Catherine had never sung again. Not around him. The lullaby she'd sung throughout her pregnancy disappeared. She only sang it to Lily. In private. When Marcus wasn't home. He'd noticed, but never asked why. Never pushed. Their marriage had become polite. Distant. Catherine focused on Lily. Marcus focused on the company. They existed in the same house, but different worlds. He told himself it was normal. That all marriages went through phases. That she'd forgive him eventually. Then 2 years ago, the first lawsuit hit. Patient died during routine surgery. Family claimed Veridex caused cardiac complications. Marcus's legal team buried it. Settled quietly. NDA signed. No admission of guilt. But Marcus had investigated privately. Read the medical records. Saw the pattern. 300% increase in cardiac events for patients who received Veridex. Exactly what Catherine had warned him about. Exactly what Elena Hartman had documented. He'd gone home that night, found Catherine in Lily's room, singing the lullaby, Starlight, Star Bright. He'd stood in the doorway. Listen, his chest had ached. You were right. About Veridex. Catherine had looked at him. No anger, just sadness. I know. I'm going to fix it. I'll pull the drug. I'll report everything to the FDA. I'll make this right. Will you? She'd stood up, walked past him. Or will you find another way to bury it? Another settlement. Another NDA. Another check written to make the problem disappear. He'd done exactly that. Buried 12 more cases. Paid off families. Silenced whistleblowers. Veridex stayed on the market. The money kept flowing, and Catherine had stopped looking at him altogether. When she died 6 months ago, Marcus had been in Tokyo on business. Got the call at 2 in the morning. Plane crash. Mechanical failure. Wife and pilot both dead. He'd flown home. Held Lily while she screamed for her mother. Arranged the funeral. Gave interviews about tragic accidents and celebrating Catherine's life. Then he'd received the full autopsy report, the part the media never saw. Catherine had experienced a cardiac event mid-flight. Sudden. Catastrophic. She'd been on Veridex for 5 years. Long-term preventative therapy after pregnancy complications. The drug that was supposed to protect her heart had stopped it. Marcus had locked himself in his office for 3 days. Read every file, every study, every case his legal team had buried. Catherine had been right. Elena Hartman had been right. They tried to stop this, and he'd silenced them. Paid Elena off when she threatened to go public. Forced her to sign an NDA. Given her just enough money to keep quiet, to raise her daughter, to survive. And then Veridex had killed her too. 3 years ago, during routine surgery. The same drug, the same complications. He'd killed both women, not with his hands, but with his choices, his greed, his refusal to listen. And now Elena's daughter had appeared at a gala, singing the song Catherine had sung, the song that connected 2 dead women, 2 silenced women. Marcus had panicked, had her thrown out, fired, blacklisted, because seeing Bella Hartman sing that lullaby to his daughter felt like Catherine's ghost returning, felt like judgment, felt like the truth he'd buried clawing its way back to the surface. He looked at Lily now, sleeping peacefully. She deserved better than a father who'd killed her mother, better than a fortune built on buried bodies. But Marcus was a coward, had been for 15 years, and he didn't know how to stop being one now. Bella sat across from the journalist in a downtown Chicago coffee shop. Rachel Martinez, investigative reporter for the Tribune, 10 years covering pharmaceutical companies. Perfect person to expose Thornton. Bella had emailed her everything. The journal, the photo, the death certificates, the pattern. Rachel had agreed to meet. Now she sat with her laptop open, reading through the files Bella had sent. Her expression was serious, focused. She looked up. This is explosive. If even half of this is true, Thornton Pharmaceutical has been covering up deaths for over a decade. It's all true. I have documentation. My mother's employment records. Catherine Thornton's journal. The autopsy reports. The problem is the NDAs. Your mother signed one. So did 11 other people according to these financial records. We publish this. Thornton's legal team will come after us hard. They'll claim stolen documents. Breach of confidentiality. They'll tie us up in court for years. People are dying. That drug is still on the market. I know, and I want to run this story. But I need to talk to my editor. Get legal to review everything. Make sure we're protected. Give me 48 hours. Bella left the coffee shop feeling lighter than she had in days. Finally, someone was listening. Someone with power. Someone who could make people pay attention. 24 hours later, Rachel called. Her voice was tight. I'm sorry, Bella. We can't run the story. What? Why not? Thornton's attorneys contacted my editor. They're threatening a lawsuit, claiming the journal was stolen property, that you obtained it illegally. They're threatening to sue you too, for defamation, for violation of your mother's NDA. The legal team says we don't have enough hard evidence that would hold up in court. Everything we have is circumstantial. Catherine Thornton's journal isn't circumstantial. She documented everything. It's hearsay, written by a dead woman. A dead woman who was married to the man you're accusing. His lawyers will claim she was mentally unstable, that the journal is unreliable. I'm sorry. My editor killed the story. The call ended. Bella sat in her car, hands shaking, rage building in her chest. She tried 2 more journalists, got the same response. Thornton's legal team had gotten there first, threatened everyone, made it clear that anyone who touched this story would be destroyed. 3 days later, Bella's landlord knocked on her door. Middle-aged man named Dennis, usually friendly. Now his face was stone. I need to talk to you about your lease. Rent's not due until next week. I've received complaints about noise, about unauthorized guests, about suspicious activity in your apartment. What? From who? Multiple neighbors. I'm giving you 30 days notice to vacate. You can't do that. I haven't done anything wrong. The lease says I can terminate for cause. The complaints are documented. 30 days. He walked away, wouldn't look at her. Bella called the neighbors listed in the complaints. None of them had filed anything. They had no idea what she was talking about. The complaints were fake, planted, anonymous, designed to get her evicted. She couldn't afford a lawyer, couldn't fight it. 30 days later, she was out, sleeping in her car in the parking lot of a 24-hour diner in Lincoln Park. November in Chicago. The cold crept through the windows. She ran the engine for heat until the gas gauge dropped too low. Then she sat in the dark, wrapped in every piece of clothing she owned, shivering, crying, invisible again. Her former co-workers from elite events wouldn't return her calls. The few friends she had stopped texting back. Job applications went unanswered. The city had turned against her. Or more accurately, Marcus Thornton had turned the city against her. He used his money, his power, his connections, made her disappear without actually making her disappear. She was nothing, no one, a ghost haunting her own life. At 4 in the morning, someone knocked on her car window. Bella jerked awake, her heart hammered. She saw James Chin standing outside. He looked tired, sad. She rolled down the window. How did you find me? I've been looking for you for 3 days. I'm sorry, Bella. I underestimated what Marcus would do. I thought he'd let this go. I was wrong. He destroyed my life. I know, and I'm going to help you fix it. But you can't sleep in your car. Come stay with me. I have a guest room. No strings. Just a warm place to sleep and figure out what's next. Bella wanted to say no, wanted to prove she could survive alone. But she was so tired, so cold, so broken. She nodded, gathered her few belongings, followed James to his apartment, and tried not to feel like she'd already lost. Bella had been staying with James for a week when his doorbell rang at 8 in the morning. James answered it, came back to the kitchen where Bella sat drinking coffee. His face was strange. There's someone here to see you. An elderly woman stood in the doorway, maybe 70, white hair pulled back, sharp blue eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. She wore a long coat and carried a leather briefcase. She looked at Bella like she was seeing a ghost. You look like your mother. Same eyes, same determined set to your jaw. Bella stood up. Who are you? Dr. Patricia Vance. I was the ethics oversight officer for the Veridex trials 15 years ago. I worked with your mother and with Catherine Thornton. She set her briefcase on the table, opened it, pulled out a thick folder. I've been waiting a very long time for someone to care enough to fight. James told me about you, about what happened at the gala, about what you've been trying to do. I think it's time I gave you what you need. Bella's hand shook. What is this? Everything. The complete trial data. The real numbers. Not the sanitized version Thornton submitted to the FDA. The actual results showing 300% increased cardiac complications in patients who receive Veridex. The internal emails between Marcus Thornton and the research heads. The documented pressure to hide adverse events. The financial records showing payments to 12 whistleblowers to keep them quiet. She pulled out more folders, more documentation. I kept copies of everything. I objected to the approval. I was forced into early retirement. They paid me off too. Maybe sign an NDA. But I'm 73 years old. I have terminal cancer. 6 months left, maybe. I don't care what they do to me anymore. I just care about the truth. Bella sat down hard. Why now? Why wait 15 years? Dr. Vance's eyes filled with tears. Because I was a coward. Because I took the money and told myself someone else would fight. Someone braver. Someone with less to lose. She touched Bella's hand. But Catherine died. Then your mother. And I realized no one was coming. No hero. No whistleblower with nothing to lose. Just normal people too scared to speak up. Like me. Like Elena. Like Catherine. We were all too scared. She pushed the folders toward Bella. But you're not scared. You're angry. And anger is what we needed all along. James stood behind them. Is this enough? Enough to go public. It's enough to bury Thornton Pharmaceutical. Enough to trigger federal investigations. Enough to pull Veridex from the market permanently. Enough to hold Marcus Thornton criminally liable. Dr. Vance pulled one more thing from her briefcase. A USB drive. And this is the final piece. Catherine recorded this 2 weeks before she quit. She gave me a copy. Asked me to keep it safe, in case something happened to her. Bella took the drive. Her hands trembled. What's on it? Watch it. Then decide what you want to do. Dr. Vance stood up. I'll testify. I'll give depositions. I'll do whatever you need. But the fight is yours now. Your mother and Catherine started it. You have to finish it. She left. Bella and James sat in silence. Bella stared at the USB drive. Finally, she plugged it into James's laptop. A video file appeared. She clicked play. Catherine Thornton's face filled the screen. Younger, pregnant. Her hand rested on her belly. She looked directly at the camera. Her voice was steady but scared. My name is Catherine Thornton. Today is March 14th. I'm 8 months pregnant. And I need to say this out loud, in case something happens to me. In case this drug that my husband's company is about to launch does what I think it will do. She took a breath. Elena Hartman and I have been documenting severe adverse events in the Veridex trials for 6 months. Cardiac complications, deaths. Pattern is undeniable. We brought our findings to management, to the research team, to Marcus. We were ignored, dismissed, threatened. We signed NDAs yesterday. We're not allowed to speak publicly, but I can't stay silent. Not completely. Catherine's eyes filled with tears. If something happens to me, if this drug is involved in any way, I need someone to know Elena, and I try to stop it. We documented everything. We fought as hard as we could. We sang together to remember we weren't alone. Starlight, Star Bright. Elena taught me that song. She said it was about holding on when everything feels impossible. We sang it in the dark, in the empty lab, when we were too scared to breathe. She wiped her eyes. Our daughters deserve better than this. Better than mothers who stayed silent. Better than a world where profit matters more than lives. Lily and Bella. Those are our girls' names. If you're watching this and I'm gone, please tell them we tried. Tell them we weren't cowards. Tell them the song was real. Tell them truth matters more than comfort. Tell them to be braver than we were. Catherine leaned closer to the camera. And if Marcus is watching this, if he's the one who finds it after I'm gone, I need him to know something. I loved him. God help me. I loved him so much, but I can't forgive him for this. For choosing the company over truth. For choosing money over lives. For choosing silence over justice. I hope someday he finds a courage we couldn't find. I hope he tells Lily the truth. I hope he does what's right, even if it's too late, even if I'm already gone. The video ended. Bella stared at the blank screen. Tears streamed down her face. Catherine had known, had predicted her own death, had recorded this message like a prophecy, like a prayer, like a warning that no one had heard. James's voice was rough. She knew the drug would kill her. She stayed on it anyway, to document the effects, to prove you were right. She was gathering evidence with her own life. Catherine was the bravest person I ever knew, and Marcus let her die rather than admit she was right. Bella looked at the folders on the table, the documentation, the emails, the proof, everything her mother and Catherine had died trying to expose, everything that could destroy Marcus Thornton and his empire, everything that could finally bring justice for the people who'd been silenced. But it would also destroy Lily, 7-year-old Lily, who'd already lost her mother. who'd cried alone at a gala while 300 people ignored her, who'd heard Bella sing and felt comfort for the first time in months. Exposing this truth meant taking away the only parent Lily had left, meant destroying the little girl's entire world. Bella closed her eyes. I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can hurt Lily like that. James was quiet for a long moment. Catherine thought you could. That's why she mentioned Bella in the video. She knew someday her daughter and Elena's daughter would have to choose truth or comfort, justice or mercy. And she trusted you to choose right. Bella opened her eyes, looked at Catherine's frozen face on the screen. What if right means destroying a little girl's life? What if right means saving hundreds of other lives? Other daughters, other mothers, other families who will never know the drug that's supposed to save them will kill them instead. James touched her shoulder. Catherine didn't make this easy. Neither did Elena. They left you with an impossible choice, but they also left you with everything you need to make it. Bella looked at the evidence spread across the table, at Catherine's face on the screen, at the life she'd lost trying to tell the truth. She thought about Lily, about the song, about two dead mothers who tried to change a broken system and failed, and about their daughters who'd inherited the fight whether they wanted it or not. She picked up her phone. I need to talk to Marcus Thornton, face to face, because before I destroy him, I need to know if there's any part of the man Catherine loved still left. Bella couldn't sleep. She lay on James's couch at 3 in the morning, staring at the ceiling, thinking about her mother, about the NDA Elena had signed, about the silence she'd kept for 15 years until Veridex killed her. Why had Elena stayed quiet? Why hadn't she fought harder, gone public despite the threats, risked everything for the truth? Bella got up, opened her laptop, started searching. Elena Hartman legal records. Nothing. Elena Hartman Thornton Pharmaceutical. Nothing. Elena Hartman Chicago court records. And there it was, a restraining order, filed 16 years ago. Thornton Pharmaceutical legal team versus Elena Hartman. Barred from contacting media. Barred from speaking publicly about proprietary company information. Barred from entering Thornton property. Bella read through it. Her mother had threatened to go to the press, had contacted journalists, had prepared to expose Veridex despite the NDA. Thornton's lawyers had crushed her, threatened criminal charges, threatened financial ruin, threatened to ensure Elena would never work in any scientific field again. The restraining order was a warning. Stay silent or lose everything. But there was more. Bella dug deeper, found financial records through a public database. Payments from Thornton Pharmaceutical to Elena Hartman. Monthly deposits. Starting 16 years ago, ending 3 years ago when Elena died. $25,000 every single month for 13 years. $300,000 total. Bella's stomach turned. Her mother had taken money. Hush money. Blood money. Not millions like Bella had imagined whistleblowers might get, but enough. Enough to pay rent, to buy groceries, to save for Bella's college fund, to give Bella a chance at a better life than Elena had. She pulled up her old college account records. The money her mother had saved, $42,000. Bella had used it for 2 years at Northwestern before dropping out when Elena died. Where had that money come from? Elena had worked as a lab tech, made $30,000 a year at most. How had she saved that much? The answer was obvious, brutal, undeniable. Bella's education had been paid for with silence, with buried bodies, with corporate negligence that killed people while her mother said nothing and cashed the checks. Bella ran to the bathroom, threw up, again and again until there was nothing left. She slid down onto the coal tile floor. Her chest heaved. Her mother wasn't a hero, wasn't a martyr. She'd been paid off. She'd taken the money. She'd chosen Bella's future over other people's lives. James appeared in the doorway. Bella? What's wrong? She couldn't speak, just pointed at the laptop still open in the living room. James read the financial records. His face went gray. Oh no, she took the money. For 13 years she took it. While people died. While Catherine died. While Veridex stayed on the market and killed more people. My mother cashed checks and stayed quiet. She did it for you. That doesn't make it right. Bella's voice broke. People died, James. Hundreds of people. Maybe thousands. And my mom could have stopped it. Could have exposed it. But she didn't. Because she wanted me to have a college fund. Because she wanted me to have opportunities. Because she chose me over them. James sat down on the bathroom floor next to her. Elena made an impossible choice. Just like Catherine made an impossible choice when she quit instead of going public. Just like everyone who signed those NDAs made impossible choices. That's what Marcus Thornton does. He makes the choices impossible. Makes the price of truth so high that normal people can't afford to pay it. But she paid it anyway. Just not with money. She paid it with guilt. With silence. With knowing every day that people were dying because she'd chosen her daughter over the truth. Bella looked at James. That's why she kept the papers. The employment records. The photo. The journal Catherine must have given her at some point. She kept evidence because she knew someday someone would need to finish what she couldn't. She left it for you. She left me with blood money and a guilty conscience. Bella stood up, went back to the living room, stared at the financial records on screen. I spent that college money, used it for tuition, for books, for rent. I was living off corporate hush money and I didn't even know it. You were a kid. You didn't know. But I know now, and I can't unknow it. I can't pretend my mother was innocent. Can't pretend she was just another victim. She made a choice. A terrible, understandable, unforgivable choice. She chose me over justice, over truth, over all the people who died because Veridex stayed on the market. Bella's hand shook, and the worst part is I understand. God help me, I understand why she did it. Because if I had a daughter, if I had to choose between her future and exposing a company that would destroy us both, I don't know what I'd choose either. James was quiet for a long moment. Maybe that's the point. Maybe Elena left you this evidence because she wanted you to have what she didn't have. A choice with all the information. A chance to do what she couldn't. Not because she was weak, but because she was human. And humans break under impossible pressure. Bella thought about her mother. About Elena working double shifts. Coming home exhausted. Singing a lullaby to Bella every night even when she could barely stand. Making breakfast. Packing lunches, showing up to parent-teacher conferences, being there, being present, being a mother who loved her daughter more than anything in the world, even more than truth, even more than justice, even more than her own conscience. I don't know if I can forgive her. Maybe you're not supposed to. Maybe you're just supposed to finish what she started. Make the choice she couldn't make. Break the cycle of impossible decisions by making the possible one. Tell the truth. No matter what it costs. Bella looked at Catherine's frozen face on the laptop screen, at the evidence Dr. Vance had given her, at the financial records showing her mother's compromise. The truth is going to cost Lily everything. Her father, her inheritance, her entire life. And staying silent will cost how many other daughters their mothers? How many other families everything? Elena chose you. Maybe it's time you choose them. Dr. Vance came back the next morning. Brought more documentation, spread it across James's dining table like pieces of a puzzle finally coming together. Bella and James sat across from her. None of them had slept. The trial data is the foundation, Dr. Vance said. She pointed to a thick folder. Phase 2 and Phase 3 results. Unaltered. This shows cardiac complication rates 300% higher in the Veridex group versus control group. Statistical significance is undeniable. The drug was dangerous. We knew it. Management knew it. They buried it anyway. She pulled out another folder. These are the internal emails. Marcus Thornton to Dr. Reeves, head of research. March 2009. Quote, the complication rates are concerning, but within parameters we can defend legally. Proceed with FDA submission. Revenue projections justify the risk. He knew. In writing. He authorized it. Bella's jaw clenched. Marcus had known from the beginning, had done the math, decided the deaths were acceptable losses compared to the profits. Dr. Vance continued. These are the financial records. Payments to 12 whistleblowers over 15 years, including your mother. NDAs signed. Silence purchased. This establishes pattern of cover-up. This is conspiracy. This is criminal. James leaned forward. Is this enough for federal prosecution? More than enough. FDA violations. Wire fraud. Conspiracy to defraud. Criminal negligence resulting in death. Marcus Thornton will face decades in prison if this goes to trial. Bella's stomach churned. Lily would lose her father, would grow up with everyone knowing he was a criminal, would carry that shame forever. About Lily, what happens to her? Dr. Vance's expression softened. She'll be raised by relatives. Marcus has a sister in California. The courts will likely grant her custody. Lily will be wealthy. The criminal proceedings won't touch her inheritance. The civil suits might. Families of victims will sue. Might drain the estate significantly. But Lily won't starve. She'll have resources. Just not her father. She's 7 years old. She already lost her mother. I know, and it's not fair. None of this is fair. But fair isn't the same as right. Dr. Vance pulled out one more document. Bella recognized her mother's handwriting. James gave me the papers you found. I found this in the employment records, tucked in the back. I don't think you saw it. Bella took the paper. It was a letter, addressed to the FDA, dated 3 years ago, written in her mother's careful script. To whom it may concern, my name is Elena Hartman. 16 years ago, I worked as a laboratory technician for Thornton Pharmaceutical during the clinical trials for Veridex. I witnessed data manipulation. I documented adverse cardiac events that were systematically buried. I raised concerns that were systematically ignored. I was silenced through legal threats and financial incentives. I signed an NDA. I took monthly payments for 13 years. I stayed quiet while people died. I am writing this letter because I am scheduled for gallbladder surgery next week. The procedure will use Veridex as a cardiac preventative medication. I requested an alternative. My insurance denied it. Veridex is standard protocol. I am going to die from the drug I tried to stop 16 years ago. I stayed silent for my daughter, to give her opportunities one never had, to protect her from the consequences of speaking truth. But silence has a price, and I am paying it now. If this drug takes me, if I don't survive this surgery, I need someone to know we tried. Catherine Thornton and I, we documented everything. We fought as hard as we could. We just weren't brave enough to sacrifice our daughters' futures for strangers' lives. Maybe that makes us cowards. Maybe that makes us human. I don't know anymore. Attached is the evidence, the trial data, the emails, the truth Catherine and I buried to protect our children. If I die, please use it. Please stop this drug. Please make sure my daughter knows I tried, that I'm sorry, that I loved her more than truth, but truth mattered more than silence. Please tell Bella to be braver than I was. Sincerely, Elena Hartman. Bella's hand shook. The letter was never sent. Elena had written it, documented everything, prepared to finally expose the truth. And then she died during surgery, before she could mail it, before she could break her silence, before she could be brave. She was going to do it, Bella whispered. She was finally going to tell the truth. Dr. Vance nodded. She ran out of time. The drug she tried to stop killed her before she could stop it. But she left you the evidence. She left you the choice she didn't get to make. Bella looked at the letter, at her mother's handwriting, at the words that broke her heart and put it back together at the same time. Elena hadn't been a coward. She'd been a mother. She'd made impossible choices for 13 years. And at the end, she tried to fix it, tried to break the silence, tried to be the hero she'd convinced herself she couldn't be. She wanted me to finish it. She trusted you to finish it, just like Catherine did. These two women carried this burden for 15 years. Now they're both gone, and the burden is yours. The question is, what are you going to do with it? Bella looked at the evidence spread across the table. The trial data, the emails, the financial records, the video, the letter, everything needed to destroy Marcus Thornton, everything needed to save lives, everything needed to honor two dead women who tried to speak and been silenced. She looked at James. I need to talk to Marcus. Before I do this, before I blow up his entire life, I need to look him in the eye and give him one chance, one opportunity to do what my mother was going to do, tell the truth himself, take responsibility, be the man Catherine thought she married. If he won't, then I will. And if he threatens you again, if he tries to destroy you again. Bella picked up her mother's letter, held it against her chest. Then, I'll know my mother died braver than the man who killed her, and I'll make sure everyone else knows it too. James made the call. Marcus answered on the second ring. What do you want, James? I need you to come to my apartment. Alone. No lawyers. No security. Just you. Why would I do that? Because Bella Hartman is here, and she has everything. Catherine's journal, Dr. Vance's documentation, the trial data, the video, all of it. You can either come talk to her now, or you can wait for the federal agents to show up at your door with warrants. Your choice. Silence on the line. Then, give me an hour. Marcus arrived 53 minutes later. He looked terrible, unshaven, dark circles under his eyes, expensive suit wrinkled. This wasn't the powerful CEO from a Gala. This was a man barely holding himself together. James let him in. Marcus saw Bella sitting at the dining table, saw the evidence spread out. His face went gray. Hello, Mr. Thornton, Bella said. Her voice was steady, cold. Marcus sat down across from her, didn't look at the documents, looked at her instead. You look like Elena. I didn't see it at the Gala. Too angry, too scared. But now I see it. You have her eyes. Don't talk about my mother. You don't get to say her name. I paid her for 13 years. I think I've earned the right. You paid her to stay silent while people died. That doesn't earn you anything except a prison sentence. Marcus flinched, but didn't argue. He looked at the evidence on the table. How much of it do you have? Everything. Trial data, emails, financial records showing the payments to 12 whistleblowers. Catherine's video testimony. My mother's unsent letter to the FDA. Documentation of 300 deaths directly linked to Veridex. Proof you knew within 2 years of launch and buried it anyway. And what do you want? Money? A bigger settlement than your mother got? Name your price. Bella leaned forward. You think I want money? You think I'm here to negotiate? I'm here to give you one chance. One opportunity to do what you should have done 15 years ago. Tell the truth. Go to the FDA. Report everything. Pull Veridex from the market. Take responsibility for the deaths. Face the consequences like an adult instead of a coward. Marcus laughed. It was bitter, broken. You think I don't know what I've done? You think I sleep at night? You think I look at my daughter and don't see Catherine's face accusing me? His voice cracked. I killed my wife. I killed your mother. I've killed 300 people and counting. You think I don't carry that every second of every day? Then why haven't you stopped it? Why is Veridex still on the market? Why are you still covering it up? Because I'm raising a 7-year-old daughter who already lost her mother. Because if I expose this, I go to prison. Lily loses me too. She grows up alone, orphaned, knowing her father is a murderer. Do you know what that would do to her? Do you know what Veridex is doing to other daughters? Other families? Every day that drug stays on the market, more people die. More children lose parents. More families are destroyed. And you're letting it happen because you're too selfish to face consequences. Marcus's hand shook. You don't understand. You're not a parent. You don't know what it's like to have to choose between truth and your child's well-being. My mother made that choice. Every day, for 13 years. She chose me over truth. And it killed her. She died knowing she'd been a coward. She died trying to fix it. She died with that guilt. Is that what you want? To die the way my mother died? The way Catherine died? Carrying the weight of all those bodies. Because you were too weak to do what was right. Marcus put his head in his hands. His shoulders shook. When he looked up, tears ran down his face. Catherine came to me the night before she quit. She was 8 months pregnant. She said if I launched Veridex, she'd never forgive me. I launched it anyway. She kept her word. She never forgave me. We lived in the same house for 6 years, and she looked at me like I was a stranger, like I was a monster. And then the drug killed her, and I had to stand at her funeral and pretend I didn't know why she died. Pretend it was just a tragic accident. Pretend I hadn't murdered my own wife for profit. He wiped his eyes. I've wanted to confess for 6 months, since the autopsy report, since I realized what I'd done. I've written a statement 100 times, called the FDA hotline and hung up before anyone answered, drafted emails to journalists and deleted them. I've tried to be brave. I just can't do it. I can't destroy Lily's life, even if it's the right thing to do, even if Catherine would hate me for it. I can't do it. Bella felt something shift in her chest, not forgiveness, but understanding. Marcus Thornton wasn't evil. He was weak, just like her mother had been weak, just like Catherine had been weak, just like everyone who'd signed those NDAs and taken that money and stayed silent had been weak. The system was designed to make good people weak, to make right choices impossible, to make cowards of anyone with something to lose. What if you didn't have to destroy Lily's life? What if there was a way to tell the truth and protect her? Marcus looked up. There isn't. I've run every scenario, every possibility. There's no version where I confess and Lily comes out okay. Then we make a new version, one where you cooperate, where you testify, where you accept consequences but control the narrative, where Lily learns the truth from you instead of from news reports, where she sees her father be brave at the end even if he was a coward at the beginning. She'll hate me. She'll hate you more if she finds out from someone else. If the story breaks and she learns her father is a criminal from strangers. But if you tell her yourself, if you explain why you did it and why you're fixing it now, maybe she'll understand. Maybe not today. Maybe not for years. But someday. Marcus stared at Bella. Why are you offering this? Why give me a way out? I destroyed your life. I killed your mother. Because my mother chose me over truth. And I'm choosing truth over revenge. Because breaking this cycle of cowardice has to start somewhere. Because Lily deserves better than to lose both parents to the same lie. And because Catherine loved you once. Before all this. Before Veridex. And maybe somewhere in the man she loved is someone worth saving. Marcus was quiet for a long moment. Then he nodded. Tell me what you need me to do. They worked through the night. Bella, James, Dr. Vance, and Marcus. Planning. Strategizing. Building a framework that would expose the truth without completely destroying Lily in the process. It wasn't perfect. There was no perfect solution. But it was something. A path forward through impossible terrain. Dr. Vance laid out the legal strategy. Marcus, you'll need to contact the FDA directly. Request a meeting with their Office of Criminal Investigations. Bring everything. Voluntarily disclose the data manipulation, the cover-up, the payments to whistleblowers. Cooperate fully. That cooperation will matter during sentencing. How much prison time am I looking at? With full cooperation? Maybe 5 to 7 years. Without it? 20 to life. White-collar crime with deaths attached. Federal prosecutors will want blood. But if you hand them the entire conspiracy on a silver platter, if you testify against your own company, they'll make a deal. Marcus's jaw clenched. 5 to 7 years. Lily will be 12 when I get out. 13. A teenager. I'll miss her entire childhood. You'll miss it in prison or you'll miss it because she won't speak to you after learning you're a criminal from the news. Choose. James spoke up. I'll take care of Lily. I'll make sure she's safe. Protected from media. Your sister Rebecca can handle legal custody. But I'll be there daily. I've known that little girl since she was born. I'm not going anywhere. Marcus looked at James. Why would you do that? I'm the reason Catherine is dead. You loved her. You should hate me. I do hate you. But I loved Catherine more. And she loved Lily more than anything, including her own life. So I'm going to make sure her daughter survives this. Not for you. For Catherine. Bella pulled out a calendar. Thornton Pharmaceuticals' 20th anniversary gala is in 3 weeks. Biggest event of the year. Media, investors, board members, industry leaders. Everyone who matters will be there. That's when we do this. Public, undeniable. No way to spin it or bury it. Marcus went pale. You want me to confess at my own company's anniversary? I want you to tell the truth in front of everyone who enabled the lie. I want the board members who approved the cover-up to hear it. I want the investors who profited from deaths to hear it. I want the industry to see what happens when money matters more than lives. They'll tear me apart. They should tear you apart. But you're going to stand there anyway. You're going to own what you did. You're going to read Catherine's statement from the video. You're going to honor my mother's memory. You're going to pull Veridex from the market effective immediately. And you're going to tell Lily first. Marcus's hand shook. How do I tell my 7-year-old daughter that I killed her mother? Dr. Vance's voice softened. You don't tell her that. Not yet. Not at 7. You tell her you made mistakes at work. Big mistakes. That people got hurt because you didn't listen when you should have. That mommy tried to stop the mistakes and you didn't listen to her. That you're sorry. That you're going to fix it now. That you're going to tell everyone the truth, even though it's scary. That sometimes being brave means doing the hard thing, the thing that hurts, the thing that costs everything. And when she asks if I'm going to jail, you tell her yes. You tell her it's the consequence for your mistakes. You tell her Uncle James will take care of her. You tell her you write her letters every single day. You tell her you love her more than anything. And you tell her that when she's older, when she can understand, you'll tell her the whole truth. But for now, you just need her to know you're trying to do the right thing even though it's late, even though it's hard, even though it costs everything. Marcus put his head in his hands. She's going to hate me. Bella's voice was quiet. Maybe. But she'll respect you. Eventually, when she's old enough to understand what you did and why you finally stopped doing it. She'll know her father was flawed, was weak, was a coward for a long time. But at the end, when it mattered most, he chose truth. He chose her mother's memory. He chose right over easy. Kids don't need perfect parents. They need honest ones. James pulled up the document on his laptop. I've drafted the statement you'll read at the gala. It's adapted from Catherine's video. It names Elena. It explains the cover-up. It announces Veridex's recall. It accepts responsibility. It announces your resignation and cooperation with federal investigations. It's everything that needs to be said. Marcus read it. Tears ran down his face. This will destroy everything I've built. You built it on bodies, Bella said. It deserves to be destroyed. What about the employees? The thousands of people who work for Thornton Pharmaceutical? They'll lose their jobs, their livelihoods. Most of them had nothing to do with Veridex. Dr. Vance answered, the company will likely file bankruptcy, be bought by a larger pharmaceutical firm. Most employees will be retained. Some will lose jobs. That's unfortunate. But it's not more important than stopping a drug that kills people. Hard choices all around. Welcome to what your whistleblowers faced 15 years ago. Except they were choosing between their own survival and abstract corporate consequences. You're choosing between your legacy and actual human lives. Seems like an easy choice to me. Marcus looked at each of them. At Dr. Vance, who'd waited 15 years for this moment. At James, who'd loved Catherine and would protect Lily. At Bella, who'd lost everything and was offering him a path to redemption anyway. Why are you all helping me? I don't deserve this. I don't deserve mercy. You don't, Bella agreed. But Lily does, and Catherine does, and my mother does. This isn't mercy. This is justice. Real justice. Not revenge. Not destruction. But accountability. Truth. The thing you've been running from for 15 years. Time to stop running. Marcus nodded slowly. 3 weeks. The gala. I'll tell Lily the day before. I'll read the statement. I'll face whatever comes. He looked at Bella. And after? After I'm in prison, and Lily hates me, and everything I build is ashes? What happens then? Then you live with it. Just like my mother lived with staying silent. Just like Catherine lived with quitting instead of fighting. We all live with our choices. The question is whether you can live with this one. Whether you can look at yourself in 10 years and know you finally did the right thing, even if it was too late, even if it cost everything, even if no one forgives you. I don't know if I can. Then you better figure out fast. Because in 3 weeks, the world is going to know what you did. The only question is whether you're going to tell them yourself or let me do it for you. Marcus stood up, looked at the evidence on the table, at Catherine's face frozen on the laptop screen, at Elena's letter in Bella's hands, at 15 years of lies and death and cowardice spread out in front of him. I'll tell them. I'll tell everyone. And then I'll spend the rest of my life trying to deserve the mercy you're giving me now. He left. The door closed behind him. The four of them sat in silence. Finally, James spoke. Do you think he'll actually do it? Or will he run? Bella thought about Marcus's face. The tears. The brokenness. The man who'd lost everything but his daughter and was about to lose her too. He'll do it. Not because he's brave, but because he's tired. Tired of running. Tired of lying. Tired of being the monster his wife died hating. He'll do it because it's the only way he gets to be human again. Dr. Vance started packing up the evidence. 3 weeks. And then 15 years of silence ends. Elena and Catherine get justice. The families get answers. Veridex comes off the market. And maybe, just maybe, one little girl gets to keep some small piece of her father. Not the man he was, but the man he could have been if he'd been brave sooner. Bella looked at her mother's letter one more time, at the words that had broken her heart and given her purpose. My mother asked me to be braver than she was. I think helping Marcus confess is what she meant. Not destroying him, not revenge, but breaking the cycle of cowardice by showing him a way to be brave, even if it's late, even if it costs everything, even if the only person who forgives him is his daughter, 20 years from now, when she's old enough to understand. And if Lily never forgives him, then he lives with that too, just like he's going to live with everything else. But at least he'll know he tried. At least he'll know he told the truth. At least he'll know that at the very end, when it mattered most, he chose right. That's more than a lot of people get. It's more than my mother got. It's more than Catherine got. Maybe it's enough. The Thornton Tower Ballroom made the Millennium Ballroom look small. 30 floors up, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Chicago's skyline. Crystal chandeliers twice the size of the first gala. Gold accents. White marble. Servers in pristine uniforms carrying champagne and caviar. 500 guests. CEOs. Politicians. Media from every major outlet. Cameras everywhere. This was Marcus Thornton's crowning achievement. 20 years of Thornton Pharmaceutical. 20 years of innovation and profit. 20 years of lies. Bella stood at the entrance. Her hand shook. She wore her mother's dress from a photo. Simple navy blue. Nothing fancy. Nothing expensive. It hung loose on her frame. Elena had been bigger. Softer. But Bella had needed to wear it tonight. Needed her mother with her. Even if it was just fabric and memory. James appeared beside her. Touched her elbow. You ready? No. Good. Neither is he. But you're both doing it anyway. He guided her inside. Past security that nodded at James's clearance. Past guests who barely glanced at her. Past wealth and power that would shatter in less than an hour. Marcus stood near the stage, surrounded by board members. They congratulated him, shook his hand, talked about stock prices and market expansion and the future. Marcus smiled, nodded, played the part, but his eyes were dead. Bella had seen that look before, on her mother's face the last year of her life. The look of someone already gone, just waiting for the body to catch up. Then Bella saw her, Lily, standing next to Marcus in a white dress. Her dark hair in curls. She looked so small, so fragile, like a breath could break her. Marcus's hand rested on her shoulder, protective, desperate, the hand of a man about to lose everything. Lily saw Bella. Her face lit up. She pulled away from Marcus, ran across the ballroom, threw her arms around Bella's waist. Miss Bella, you came. Bella knelt down, hugged her back. Of course I came. Your dad invited me. He said you knew my mommy, that you're her friend's daughter, that you're going to help me remember her tonight. Lily's eyes were so trusting, so innocent. She had no idea what was about to happen. No idea her entire world was about to collapse. That's right. Your mommy and my mommy were friends. They worked together a long time ago. Did they sing together? Bella's throat closed. Yes, they sang together. Daddy said I'm going to sing tonight too. The song Mommy used to sing. He said you'll sing with me, so I'm not scared. Lily grabbed Bella's hand, squeezed tight. Will you? Will you sing with me? Bella looked at Marcus across the room. He watched them. His face showed everything. Fear, grief, desperation, love. He mouthed 2 words. Thank you. Bella looked back at Lily, at this child who was about to lose her father, who would grow up with trauma and questions and scars that would never fully heal, but who would also grow up knowing the truth, knowing her mother had been brave, knowing her father had finally chosen right, knowing that silence could be broken, that voices could be raised, that songs could carry truth across impossible distances. Yes, sweetheart, I'll sing with you, I promise. The evening progressed. Dinner, speeches from board members, a video presentation showing Thornton Pharmaceuticals' innovations over 20 years. Veridex featured prominently, the miracle cardiac drug that had saved thousands of lives. Bella watched patients in the video thanking Marcus, thanking the company, thanking the drug. None of them knew what it had cost, how many others had died, how the numbers were manipulated, how the truth was buried under marketing and profit margins. Her stomach churned. Her hands fisted in her mother's dress. James sat beside her, touched her arm. Breathe. Just breathe. It's almost time. Finally, the MC took the stage. And now the man who made all of this possible. The visionary who built Thornton Pharmaceutical from a small research firm into a global leader. Please welcome CEO Marcus Thornton. Applause erupted. 500 people stood, cheered, celebrated. Marcus walked to the stage. Lily followed him. Bella's heart hammered. This was it. The moment everything changed. The moment truth shattered illusion. The moment two dead women finally got justice. Marcus reached the microphone, looked out at the crowd. His face was calm, resolved. The face of a man who'd made peace with consequences. He opened his mouth to speak. 20 years ago, Marcus said, I built this company on innovation, on breakthrough research, on the dream of saving lives and changing medicine. He paused. The room was silent, attentive, but I also built it on silence, on buried data, on dead bodies I pretended not to see. The room shifted. Confused murmurs. Board members exchanged glances. The media leaned forward. Cameras focused. Marcus continued. 15 years ago, Thornton Pharmaceutical launched a drug called Veridex, a cardiac preventative medication used in surgical procedures. It was supposed to save lives. It was supposed to be revolutionary. It was approved by the FDA. It made billions of dollars, and it killed hundreds of people. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Someone shouted, "What are you doing?" A board member stood up. Marcus raised his hand. "Let me finish. You'll have time to respond. But right now you're going to listen." His voice was steel. Command. The voice of a man who'd run this company for 20 years, who'd built an empire, who was about to burn it down. During clinical trials, 2 laboratory technicians discovered adverse cardiac events 300% higher than control groups. They documented everything. They brought their findings to management, to me. They begged us to stop the trials, to report the data to the FDA, to put safety over profit. Marcus's voice cracked. Their names were Catherine Thornton and Elena Hartman, my wife, and the mother of the young woman sitting in this audience tonight. Camera swiveled. Found Bella. She sat frozen, every eye in the room on her. Marcus continued. I dismissed their concerns, told my wife she was being paranoid. That pregnancy was affecting her judgment. I trusted the research team, trusted the numbers they gave me. Or maybe I just wanted to trust them. Maybe I didn't want to see what was right in front of me. Maybe profit mattered more than truth. He looked directly at the camera. I launched Veridex knowing there were concerns, knowing 2 brilliant women had risked their careers to warn me. I launched it anyway. The room exploded, shouting. Board members rushed toward the stage. Security blocked them. Marcus kept talking. Louder now. My wife quit. Elena Hartman quit. They both signed NDAs. They both stayed silent. Catherine because she was pregnant with our daughter and terrified of what I'd do if she spoke. Elena because I paid her $25,000 a month for 13 years. Hush money, blood money, money to keep her quiet while people died from the drug she tried to stop. A woman in the audience screamed. My husband died. He had Veridex during his surgery 3 years ago. He died. No, Marcus said. His voice broke. I know, and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. 300 documented deaths. Maybe more. All preventable. All on my hands. On this company's hands. On the hands of every person in this room who knew and said nothing. Board members tried to cut the microphone. James had disabled the override. Marcus's voice carried through the ballroom. Unstoppable. Undeniable. Catherine tried to warn me for 6 years. Every time there was a lawsuit. Every time a family came forward. Every time the evidence piled higher. She begged me to pull the drug, to tell the truth, to stop the deaths. I buried the evidence instead, paid off the families, silenced the whistleblowers, protected the company, protected the profit, protected everything except the people this drug was supposed to save. He looked down at Lily. She stood beside him, confused, scared, not understanding most of the words, but understanding something was very wrong. 6 months ago, my wife died in a plane crash. The official report said mechanical failure. What it didn't say was that she had a cardiac event mid-flight. She'd been taking Veridex long-term. Preventative therapy. The drug I refused to pull from the market killed her. Just like it killed Elena Hartman 3 years ago during routine surgery. Just like it's killed hundreds of others. Silence now. Complete. Absolute. 500 people frozen. Cameras recording everything. Marcus's confession broadcast live to media outlets across the country. No way to stop it. No way to bury it. Truth finally loose after 15 years. My daughter wants to sing something tonight. A song her mother taught her. A song my wife learned from Elena Hartman during the darkest time of their lives. When they were trying to stop Veridex. When they were terrified and alone and silenced. They sang together to remember they weren't alone. They sang to survive. They sang because it was the only way to hold on when everything else was falling apart. Marcus knelt beside Lily, whispered something in her ear. Lily looked at the crowd. 500 faces staring at her. She was terrified. Her small body shook, but she opened her mouth. Starlight, star bright. Her voice was tiny, trembling. When the world feels too wide. She stopped. Tears filled her eyes. She looked at her father. Marcus squeezed her hand. Keep going, sweetheart. You can do this. I'll be right here. Her voice cracked. She couldn't finish. Started crying. Bella stood up. Everyone turned to look at her. She walked toward the stage. Slowly, deliberately, her mother's dress swishing around her legs. James started to follow. She shook her head. This part she had to do alone. She climbed the stairs. Stood beside Lily. Knelt down. Took the little girl's hands in hers. It's okay. I've got you. Lily's tears streamed down her face. I can't do it. I'm too scared. I know, but you're not alone. Remember? I promised I'd sing with you. Bella looked out at the crowd, at 500 people who'd come to celebrate, and found a funeral instead, at cameras broadcasting this moment to the world, at board members and investors and politicians watching their empire crumble, at media documenting the fall. She sang, Starlight, star bright. When the world feels too wide, I'll be right here by your side. Lily joined her, soft at first, then stronger. Their voices harmonized, filled the ballroom, carried across crystal chandeliers and marble floors and 30 floors of glass overlooking Chicago. The song two dead women had sung together 15 years ago. The song that connected mothers and daughters across death and silence and corporate negligence. The song that carried truth when words weren't enough. They finished. The last note hung in the air. No one moved. No one spoke. The silence was deafening. Then someone in the back started clapping. Slow, deliberate. Others joined. Not celebration. Something else. Acknowledgement. Witness. The sound of people who'd just watched a man destroy himself for truth. Who'd watched two daughters honor their mothers. Who'd watched silence finally break. The applause died. Marcus stood, faced the crowd. Effective immediately, I am recalling Veridex from all markets. I am resigning as CEO of Thornton Pharmaceutical. I am cooperating fully with federal investigations into data manipulation, fraud, and criminal negligence. I am establishing a victim compensation fund using my personal fortune. Every family affected by Veridex will receive full compensation and a public acknowledgement of what this company did to them. Board members rushed the stage. You can't do this. You're destroying the company. The company deserves to be destroyed. It was built on lies, on death, on silence. Better dies than one more person. Security tried to remove Marcus from the stage. James blocked them. He's not finished. Marcus looked at Lily, knelt down. Cameras captured everything. His next words would be broadcast everywhere, replayed forever, become part of his daughter's permanent record. Lily, sweetheart, Daddy did bad things, very bad things. People got hurt because I didn't listen when I should have. Mommy tried to stop me. Miss Bella's mommy tried to stop me. I didn't listen to them, and now they're both gone. Lily's face crumpled. Did you make Mommy go away? Not on purpose. But yes, I made choices that hurt Mommy, that hurt Miss Bella's mommy, that hurt a lot of people. And now I have to fix it. I have to tell everyone what I did. I have to make it right. Are you going to jail? The question cut through the chaos. The room went silent again, waiting. Marcus's eyes filled with tears. Yes, sweetheart. Probably. For a long time. And I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry you have to go through this. I'm so sorry I hurt Mommy. I'm so sorry I wasn't brave when she needed me to be. Lily threw her arms around his neck, sobbed into his shoulder. I don't want you to go. I know. But sometimes being brave means doing a hard thing. The thing that hurts. Mommy was brave. She tried to stop the bad things. Miss Bella's mommy was brave too. Now it's my turn. I have to be brave like they were. Even though it's late. Even though it costs everything. Will you come back? Someday. When I've fixed what I broke. When I've made things right. Uncle James will take care of you. And Miss Bella will visit. And you'll write me letters. And I'll write you back every single day. I promise. Lily pulled back, looked at her father's face. She didn't understand everything. She was 7, but she understood enough. Mommy would want you to tell the truth. Marcus's face broke. Yes, she would. She tried to teach me that. I just didn't listen until it was too late. Federal agents appeared at the ballroom entrance. Not to arrest, not yet, but present. Waiting. Marcus kissed Lily's forehead, stood, handed her to James. James picked her up, held her while she cried. Marcus turned to the board members clustered near the stage. You all knew. Some of you suspected. Some of you had proof. You chose the company over truth. Just like I did. The difference is I'm confessing. If you're smart, you'll do the same. The evidence is already with the FDA, with the Department of Justice, with media outlets that can't be bought or threatened. This ends tonight. All of it. Board Chair Richard Holbrook's face was purple with rage. You've destroyed this company. Destroyed thousands of jobs. Destroyed shareholder value. For what? A guilty conscience. For 300 dead people. For 2 dead women who tried to stop this. For every family we lied to. For every patient who trusted us. For my daughter. So she knows her father finally chose right. Even if it's too late. Even if it costs everything. Marcus looked directly at Holbrook. You want to save the company? There's a way. Cooperate. Testify. Admit what you knew and when. Accept responsibility. The company might survive under new leadership. Under ethics oversight. Under accountability. But this version, the one built on buried bodies and silenced whistleblowers, this version dies tonight. Holbrook turned to the lawyers clustered nearby. Get him off this stage. Invoke the mental health clause. He's clearly unstable. Dr. Patricia Vance appeared, walked to the stage, took the microphone from Marcus. My name is Dr. Patricia Vance. I was ethics oversight for the Veridex trials. I documented everything Marcus Thornton just confessed. I have trial data showing 300% increased cardiac complications. Emails proving Marcus knew within 2 years. Financial records of payments to whistleblowers. Video testimony from Catherine Thornton recorded before her death. And Elena Hartman's unsent letter to the FDA written before the drug killed her. Everything Marcus said is true. Everything is documented. Everything is already in federal hands. She looked at the board members. The FDA is issuing an emergency recall of Veridex at midnight tonight. The Department of Justice is opening criminal investigations into everyone who participated in the cover-up. That includes board members, research heads, legal counsel, anyone who knew and stayed silent. Marcus Thornton is cooperating fully. I suggest you all do the same. Chaos exploded. Board members shouting. Lawyers on phones. Investors demanding answers. Media swarming. Cameras capturing everything. Security trying to maintain order. Federal agents moving through the crowd. Taking names. Gathering statements. The empire crumbling in real time. Bella stood with Lily and James. Watching it all. Feeling nothing. No satisfaction. No victory. Just exhaustion. Grief. The heavy weight of truth finally told. A lawyer approached her. Miss Hartman, I represent the Victim Compensation Fund. Marcus Thornton has allocated funds for families affected by Veridex. That includes compensation for your mother's death. We're prepared to offer you $3 million. Full settlement. Acknowledgement of wrongdoing. Public apology. Bella looked at the lawyer. $3 million. More money than she'd ever imagined. Enough to erase her mother's debt. Enough to never work again. Enough to disappear and start over somewhere else. What are the terms? No terms. Full payment. No NDA. You're free to speak about everything. This is restitution, not silence. I don't want the money. The lawyer blinked. I'm sorry? I don't want the money. Not for me. Bella looked at Lily, at James holding her while she cried for her father, at Dr. Vance standing on stage like a warrior after decades of waiting, at Marcus being led away by attorneys to begin the long process of legal consequences. I want the money to fund a foundation, in my mother's name and Catherine Thornton's name, for music therapy, for children processing grief and medical trauma, for families affected by corporate negligence, for anyone who needs to learn how to sing again after silence almost killed them. The lawyer stared at her. You're turning down $3 million for yourself? I'm turning down blood money. I'm accepting responsibility to do something good with something terrible. My mother took money to stay silent. I'm taking money to help people find their voices. There's a difference. You'd run this foundation? I direct it. Use my music therapy training. Work with kids who lost parents, who are processing trauma, who need someone to teach them the songs their mothers can't sing anymore. Bella looked at the lawyer. That's my settlement. That's what my mother's silence buys. Not my comfort, but other people's healing. Not revenge, but redemption. Take it or leave it. The lawyer nodded slowly. I'll draw up the papers. He walked away. James touched Bella's shoulder. Your mother would be so proud of you. My mother would be ashamed it took me this long to be brave. Bella looked at Lily. Can I talk to her? James nodded. Set Lily down. Bella knelt, took the little girl's hands. Your daddy did something very brave tonight. He told the truth even though it hurt, even though it cost him everything. That's what real bravery looks like. Not fighting, not winning, just choosing right when it's hard. Lily's eyes were red from crying. Will you still visit me? When Daddy's gone? Every week. I promise. We'll sing together. We'll remember our mommies together. We'll be brave together. Okay. Lily nodded. Hugged Bella tight. I'm glad you sang to me. That first time. At the other party. When I was sad. I'm glad you didn't walk away. Bella's throat closed. Me too, sweetheart. Me too. She stood. Watched Marcus disappear through the ballroom doors. Watched federal agents interview witnesses. Watched the media broadcast the fall of Thornton Pharmaceutical to the world. Watched board members scramble to save themselves. Watched the empire built on silence collapse under the weight of truth finally told. Outside the windows, Chicago glittered. 30 floors below, the city continued. People lived, worked, loved, died, sang, stayed silent, made impossible choices, lived with consequences. The world kept turning, but something had shifted. Truth had been spoken. Voices had been raised. A song had carried across the distance between two dead women and their daughters. And silence finally had broken. 6 months later, Bella unlocked the door to a small office in Lincoln Park. The sign outside read Starlight Foundation, Music Therapy for Children in Crisis. The space was modest. 3 rooms, old hardwood floors, windows overlooking a park where kids played. Nothing fancy, but it was hers, built from the ashes of her mother's silence, built from Catherine's death, built from truth that had cost everything. She walked into the music room, guitars on stands, a keyboard, drums, small chairs in a circle. This was where she worked now, where she taught children how to sing again after trauma stole their voices. Children who'd lost parents, who'd survived medical nightmares, who'd learned too young that the world was cruel and unfair and terrifying. Bella had completed her music therapy certification, used her training finally, found purpose in helping others find theirs. The work was hard, emotionally exhausting. She went home crying most days, but it mattered. It was real. It was what her mother would have wanted her to do with a legacy of silence and blood money. James ran security for the foundation, unnecessary for such a small operation. But he'd insisted, Catherine would haunt me if I let anything happen to you. He'd become family. The Uncle Bella never had. The protector both she and Lily needed. Dr. Vance served on the board. Her cancer had gone into remission. Apparently, confessing gives you superpowers, she joked. She spent her days advocating for pharmaceutical ethics reform, testifying at congressional hearings, making sure Catherine and Elena's deaths changed something, meant something beyond headlines and scandal. Marcus served house arrest in a downtown condo. Electronic monitoring. Supervised visits with Lily twice a week. He'd pleaded guilty to fraud and negligent homicide. Avoided trial. Accepted a 7-year sentence that would start after he finished cooperating with federal investigations. The cooperation was extensive. Dozens of board members faced charges. Thornton Pharmaceutical filed bankruptcy. Was bought by a larger firm. Most employees kept their jobs. The company survived. Marcus's legacy didn't. Lily came to the foundation every Tuesday after school. James brought her. She'd grown in 6 months. Taller, older somehow. Still sad. Still processing. But learning, healing. She sang now, without crying. Talked about her mother without breaking. Was learning that grief didn't disappear, but became part of you. Something you carried instead of something that carried you. The other families, the 12 who'd been paid off, plus dozens more who came forward after the gala, received compensation, public acknowledgement, apologies. Some accepted. Some spit in Marcus's face during victim impact statements. All deserved whatever response they gave. There was no right way to grieve, no right way to accept justice that came too late. Elena's name was cleared in public record. News articles called her a whistleblower who'd been silenced, a mother who'd made impossible choices, a woman who'd tried to do right in a system designed to punish righteousness. Not perfect, not a hero, but human, flawed, brave in the ways she could be, cowardly in the ways she had to be. Bella had made peace with that, with her mother's complexity, with choices made from love and fear, with silence that had been survival. She'd scattered Elena's ashes in Lake Michigan, sung the lullaby over the water, let go of anger, kept the love. The doorbell rang. Bella checked her watch. 3 o'clock, Tuesday session. Right on time. Bella opened the door. Lily ran in, hugged her. Miss Bella, I wrote a new verse. You did? Let's hear it. They walked to the music room. 5 other children sat in the circle already, ages 6 to 10, all dealing with loss, medical trauma, grief. They looked up when Lily entered, smiled. She'd become part of their group, their friend, their fellow survivor. Lily sat down, pulled out a piece of paper. I wrote this about Mommy, and your mommy, and being brave. She sang, her voice clear now, strong. Starlight, star bright. When the darkness feels too wide, their love will be my guide. Though they're gone, their song lives on in every word I say. They were brave in their own way. Bella's eyes filled with tears. The other children clapped. Lily beamed. Do you think they'd like it? Our moms. Bella looked at this child who'd lost her mother to corporate negligence, who'd watched her father confess on national television, who'd survived trauma that would have broken most adults, who'd found her voice anyway, who sang, now not just for comfort, but for others, who'd learned that grief shared became lighter, that voices raised together carried farther, that mother songs never really died. They just found new singers. I think they're the reason you could write it, the reason any of us can sing now. Outside the window, Chicago gleamed. Same towers, same wealth, same inequality. But something had shifted. Veridex was off the market. Pharmaceutical companies faced new oversight. Whistleblower protection strengthened. Catherine and Elena's deaths had changed the system. Not completely, not perfectly, but enough. Enough to matter. Enough to save the next person, the next family, the next daughter who'd lose her mother too soon. Bella looked at the children in the circle, at Lily, at the guitars and drums and keyboard that helped them process trauma through music, at the foundation built from blood money transformed into healing. This was what truth bought. Not revenge, not victory, but purpose. The chance to take pain and make it mean something, to take silence and turn it into song, to take loss and transform it into love that helped others survive their own losses. She picked up her guitar. Okay, everyone, let's sing Lily's new verse together, and then we'll write our own, because that's what we do here. We take the songs others gave us and make them ours. We take the pain we inherited and turn it into power. We remember the people we lost by helping others remember theirs. The children sang. Their voices filled the small room, carried through the windows, mixed with Chicago street sounds and car horns and the ordinary chaos of life continuing. The lullaby had evolved, grown, become something bigger than two frightened women singing in a dark laboratory. It was a lifeline now, a legacy, proof that love outlived silence. That truth, however late, mattered. That being seen started with seeing others. Bella sang with them, her mother's voice in her memory, Catherine's words from the video, Lily's hand in hers. The weight of impossible choices lifted slightly, not erased, never erased, but shared, distributed among voices raised together, among daughters who refused to stay silent, among children learning that grief was valid and survivable and shareable. Outside, the city kept moving, but in this small room in Lincoln Park, something else was happening. Healing, connection, the radical act of singing someone else's pain until it became a different kind of song. Not happy, not triumphant, but real, honest, human, the kind of song mothers would be proud of, the kind of song that proved their sacrifices, flawed and late and imperfect as they were, had mattered, had meant something, had changed the world in small, vital ways. The song ended. The children looked at Bella, waiting. She smiled. Again, they nodded. Began again. Starlight, star bright. When the world feels too wide, their love will be my guide. The mothers were gone, but their daughters sang on. And that, Bella thought, was the whole point. The only point. The reason any of them kept breathing, kept trying, kept choosing truth over comfort and voice over silence. Because love didn't end when people died. It just changed form, became songs, became foundations, became children brave enough to write new verses, became daughters strong enough to finish their mother's fights, became healing shared in small rooms with old guitars and voices that cracked but never broke. Bella looked at Lily, singing with her eyes closed, at the other children joining in, at James standing in the doorway, watching with tears in his eyes, at the life built from tragedy and truth and impossible choices made by flawed people trying their best. This was enough. Not perfect, not complete, but enough. Her mother would understand. Catherine would understand. They both made choices they couldn't take back. But their daughters had made different ones, better ones, braver ones. And maybe that's what legacy really meant. Not perfection passed down, but the chance to take brokenness and make it whole, to take silence and make it song, to take pain and make it purpose. The singing continued, would continue, long after Bella's voice gave out, long after these specific children grew up and moved on. The foundation would keep running. The song would keep spreading. The truth would keep mattering. And two dead women who tried to speak would finally be heard, not through their own voices, but through every voice they'd inspired, every daughter they'd given courage to, every child who learned that being brave didn't mean never being scared. It just meant singing anyway. Sometimes the most radical act is singing someone else's pain until it becomes healing. Sometimes justice comes too late, but still matters. Sometimes the people we lose give us exactly what we need to survive losing them. And sometimes, in small rooms in ordinary cities, daughters finish what mothers started. Not perfectly, not completely, but honestly, bravely, with voices raised together, proving that love, however complicated, outlives silence. That truth, however late, changes everything. That being seen starts with seeing others, and that the song never really ends. It just finds new singers, new daughters, new voices willing to carry the melody forward into whatever comes next.